What up, tourists? Put down that dictionary and clear your browser history immediately. Things are getting a little scary out here, and you know what? Everybody deserves a vacation from time to time. So let us be your suspiciously affordable travel guides as we go down on a little East Asian adventure down to Thailand. This episode in a bit of a roundabout way. You guys are listening to Super Despair World. It's not the number one podcast in Bangkok, but it is the number one podcast if you want to get your cock banged. Let's start off strong with some great tips. They'll immediately make our listeners more attractive to whoever they want.
Yes. Go to patreon.com/superdespairworld and sign up for our Patreon. You can join it and donate a sinister $6 to listen to all of our bonus episodes, which are amazing. There's also a $2 tip jar where you can join our Discord and hang out with the coolest people in the world, including me and Briar. And we have a merch store, merch.superdespairworld.com. And you can buy stickers featuring the amazing art that Briar has done for a handful of these episodes. They're really good. I'm looking at them right now, and my eyes are sparkling with their glory and amazement. Just check it out. Buy one, buy two, buy a bunch. The shipping is the same either way. So just get a goddamn envelope full of these motherfuckers and give them out to all your friends. They're gonna love it.
If
So
you
do that.
If you guys buy more, we'll make more. That's how it works.
yes, and yeah, so buy more, and we'll make more. And we'll make other cool stuff, too. But until you start buying shit, don't be asking for merch anymore, you motherfuckers.
Yeah, for real. And also, I know what you're thinking. $6 what's that in Thai currency? And I just learned that it's called Thai baht. And the sinister $6 here works out to about 203 baht. So if that's what you got, we'll take it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I had some Thai baht once. I was in Thailand very briefly. I spent all of it on a pair of shorts when I was leaving because I didn't have anything to buy. So I bought some shorts. They're still great. Still have them. Thailand.
Oh, hell yeah.
Great place for shorts.
I just switched to the Google Images tab, and their currency is very colorful and gay, just like Canadian dollars. I think they might have similar colors to our values as well.
Yeah, they're cool. It's definitely a cool currency. Highly recommend it. Way better than the U.S. dollar, which is still...
That's a pretty low bar, admittedly.
Yeah, it's just green bullshit.
I think for the past year, I don't even remember where it's from. I've had like a $5 U.S. bill in my wallet, and it just feels, I don't know, it feels flimsy. It feels like somebody's probably blown their nose with this.
Probably, or blown something else up their nose.
Yeah, well, I mean, statistically, you never know where every dollar's been, but I'm pretty sure that's what a good amount of them have been used for.
Yeah.
I think this episode needs a little bit of a forward section because we're not exactly talking about Thailand directly. This is going to be a bit of a roundabout Reddit episode, following up on a very funny and unexpected tangent from yesteryear. Do you want to sum it up for people?
Yeah, so we did an episode. What's the episode number on that again?
It was episode number 34, so 6 months ago, roughly.
So 6 months ago, which it doesn't seem that long. We did an episode about DoorDash and like Uber Eats and app slaves and stuff like that. And there was a segment there where we looked at some Redditors, as we often do. You gotta jump into the mud pit once in a while and see what the old Reddit army is opining about.
That's content, baby. Yeah. Capital C content.
Capital C, big bold letter C there. And we found one person who was just They had some things to say about DoorDash. Just complaining about having to tip DoorDash drivers.
Yeah, he had some very r/unpopular opinions about tipping culture in America.
Yeah, which I mean, like, fine, fuck tips, I guess, but But like that's the way it is, and that's how these people get paid. But it seemed like all of his posts were just really centered around kind of like justifying the fact that he refused to tip any of these people. But when we looked into his post history live on the pod, there were some other really interesting posts that this guy had as well.
Yeah, I think he mentioned something in his post about like, oh, people who do like the gig economy thing here get paid like minimum wage or whatever. And both of us were like, where the fuck does this guy live that works that way? I've never heard of that. So we checked out his profile and immediately found just an utter gold mine of like, I don't know, some very like vivid brush strokes that come together to form an evocative painting of a person's entire life.
Yes,
and
yes.
We read some of that live on the air. You guys got to go check that episode out. I guess it's a mandatory listen. Part 1 to this episode. It's time-stamped. It's about halfway through the episode. Please go back. It's one of our less viewed episodes, but it's a great one. So check that one out. And that was our little intro to this person. And at the time we were like, okay, we gotta follow up on this person at some point because this is too good not to read aloud and just have a fun time with. But also we had to get back on the topic for that episode. So now we're finally delivering, no pun intended, r/DoorDash, whatever. And I just wanted to, I don't know, unpack this person's life, see if we can learn anything about a very interesting character on the internet. And earlier today, like a couple hours ago before we were recording this, I was like, okay, we're recording later tonight. It's time to do my last minute research prep for the episode. And I went through our little DM history, Dave and I, our little Discord convos, and I found his Reddit profile, and I was devastated. I clicked the link and it said, this account has been suspended.
Yeah. And I was also very, very upset about this. However, with a little sleuthing, I found a way to find the post history of somebody who's been suspended from good old Reddit. Thanks, coding nerds who
we did it, Reddit.
Yeah, who are archiving the internet's most important content. So we're back. We found it. We've retrieved this tome of knowledge that could have been lost to the world due to Reddit and their goddamn terms of service. Which, yeah, unacceptable, guys.
Yeah, so this guy's account name, by the way, I'm going to tell you guys, just to cover my ass here, don't go out and harass this person. But also, I don't think you could do that even if you wanted to, because, like, this is the only account I found, and, like, his account is suspended on Reddit. But this is the long and colorful life of you/the Red Ranger 7317. And I think maybe we'll call this episode The Red Ranger Rides Again, or something like that, because we're bringing these posts back to life.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that's just the docket for today. I think we're just going to go through some of this post history and just maybe pontificate a little bit on what we find and just have a good time. Where shall we begin?
Yeah, this is a biopic or a biopic. I never really learned.
I think it's biopic, but I can't be too sure.
Yeah, but yeah, of just a person in the world with opinions and with life experience. Assuming that all of this isn't completely made up, but I want to believe that the Red Ranger is real. He's still out there.
We did have a little back and forth in the original episode about, is this a bait account? It could be a bait account, but I feel like no. I think there's too much of a through line between some of the events described, and there's like a little too much of a history here. Like, there's no way somebody would just do this as a bit, like for no reason, right? So I don't know. I thought I do have a good maybe first post. Some of these are going to be kind of long, but I don't know. We'll have a good time. So I'm going to link this to you, Dave, and I guess I'll just get started reading this aloud, because I think this is a good intro if you've heard our first episode.
Okay,
Jamie, pull that up.
Let's pull that up. All right. So in r/Thailand tourism, The title of this is Why Are Thais Too Friendly to Farangs/Foreigners? And I'm going to assume that Farang is the term for foreigner.
Yeah, it's like gringo for Thailand.
Yeah.
And I thought this is a great place to start because in the last episode, he talked about a little misadventure with getting quote-unquote tricked into sleeping with a ladyboy over there in Thailand. And I thought, we both of us were like, guys, it's a little bit of a red flag if you go to like what you think is a bar in another country and like cute girls are immediately like laughing at all your jokes and like just being really, really forward with you. I don't know. Like sometimes they're not just being friendly. Sometimes they have an ulterior motive. Maybe it's a bit of a business thing, but
especially if you're as big of a dork as this dude, then yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you want to read this post or shall I?
Sure. I'll start this one off.
All right, let's go.
All right, so it starts, again, why are Thais too friendly to foreigners? It's almost like they're essentially letting them get stepped on by foreigners. I know Farangs bring in tons of cash and Thailand thrives on foreign currency. But it feels a bit weird to see many Thais cater to foreigners so blatantly. I hear Thai taxi drivers sometimes skip other Thais so they can go hunt foreigners down to give them a ride instead because they know the Farangs pay more. And they tip a shit ton too. Thanks, Americans. Again on the tip shit. I get courtesy and warmness, but you get Thais being too friendly. IDK if it's fake or not. Could it be? To Farangs. Farangs always basically taking advantage of the local population and Thais will just allow it? For example, I was hanging out with this bar girl, just drinking beers, and she wanted to leave my hotel room and go back to work, and I said no and grabbed her and pushed her, gently, on the bed. She just sat there and took it. Then we chatted for a bit, and she was still super friendly and nice. Okay, that's fucking weird.
I know, right? I was like, Jesus Christ, dude.
But then she got annoying and kept talking about random shit, and then asked for more money. I already paid you twice, so I just kicked her out. She wanted to come back later and asked for the room number, but I lied and gave her some random number. She keeps messaging me on social media, so I just ended up ignoring her for a few days. But we're still friends to this day. The main point I'm making is my story isn't isolated to just me. I hear other stories where Farangs take advantage of Thai locals, and I think it sucks because Thai people are really cool and friendly, just a little bit too kind. Anyone else have this experience when they toured Thailand?
This is insane, right? I'm not the only person sitting here and thinking this sounds like an insane post from.
No, this is
the casual confession here. Like, yeah, she wanted to leave, but I pushed her on the bed and said no, but I did it gently. Like,
well, it's gently,
like what do you mean no? she has work to do.
Yeah, well, it's also like he just talks about how shitty he is to these people, and then is like blames them for it, for not, I don't know, what are they supposed to do? Like, shoot you? Like, take out a gun? And just like, yeah, I mean, you're an asshole.
It just seems wild to me. Like, I don't know. Like, does he want them to not be so friendly? Like, can't you just? I don't know. This seems like a looking a gift horse in the mouth sort of situation, right? Where like you're not just traveling to another country, but you're going to. I think this post is tagged with Pattaya, which I think is like a touristy corner of Thailand as well. I'm gonna assume he probably sticks to like the nice, more touristy areas as well. And I'm like, okay. That's how it works. That's how like countries that rely on tourism work. People there know that you're bringing in, a lot of money in this other currency that's weighed a lot more heavily. You can afford to spend a lot of it there. So yeah, people are going to treat you more nicely. That's just kind of how it works. I don't know what to tell this dude.
Well, there's a lot of cognitive dissonance with this dude's posts in general. Like just the thing where he's like, he's complaining that they're too nice to Americans and it's because they tip too much. Thanks, Americans. So like this dude is clearly somebody like, well, why are you in Thailand? Like, why Thailand?
Well, I think we know why he's in Thailand, but
well,
we can get to that.
Yeah, but like more broadly, like why are you in Thailand to be a sexpat or whatever? Well, you're in Thailand not because you respect the culture and whatever. It's because it's cheap and you can like get your jollies off doing Thailand shit in Thailand as a tourist. But then he like complains about the privilege that rich Americans get there, partially because they give a lot of money, but then he also complains that Americans are giving money through tips, and it's just like, man, you just sound like a really like miserable bitch. I
think I don't know if I can be not so charitable. Like I read this and part of me is just thinking like it sounds like this guy is experiencing a little bit of like white guilt about like, wow, I treated this girl like shit. Why did they just let me do that? That's crazy. I guess I'll just continue doing it. And I don't know.
I'll make a Reddit post about it.
Yeah, and
like,
of course,
yeah.
This is one of the few posts we found from this guy that's like still up. A lot of them were deleted for like I guess obvious reasons and also because his account was suspended. But basically every one of the like 1 or 2 dozen replies here is like, I'm not sure if you're a troll, but it sounds like you're a huge asshole or something.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. A lot of people are assuming this person is a troll, and I don't fault anybody for that. To be clear. I don't think this person is a troll, just based on my personal experience with these kind of expats, where they simultaneously feel privileged, they use their privilege at any moment they possibly can, but they'll bitch about everything. They'll bitch about the fact that they have privilege. And then they'll bitch about like the local people for treating them a certain way based on this. So it's there's definitely a certain type, and this person does fit a certain archetype that I've actually met before, and they're a fun crowd for sure.
Yeah, I get it. There's another post. I want to follow this up with. There's actually 2 posts in a row, and I kind of want to read them as part of a shot and chaser sort of deal here. No pun intended with the chaser thing, but
hey.
So this is one of the posts that was deleted. So I'm gonna send you like a little screenshot of this from our little archival tool. This post is in r/Pattaya, which I guess is like a touristy city over in Thailand. The post is called "Bar Girls That Can Be Girlfriends Do Not Exist." And no replies to this. Maybe they got deleted. Maybe they weren't archived. I don't know. But I just want to read this out. He writes here, reminder that you should never fall in love with a bar girl. These girls are professionals. They know how to tug at your heartstrings. They do all the smooth moves to get you into them. That's how they make their money. Shit, I had a girl text me good night. Like, damn girl, get out of my head. Bar girls are not real people. They're just workers. It is a transaction. Do you fall in love with the waitress that delivers your food? No. Then don't do it here. I saw my friend get taken advantage of last week when he fell in love and sent the bar girl some money. Now they're talking about moving her to his country. Chances are they've done this same song and dance routine for thousands others before meeting you. You're nothing special, and neither are they. Do not be tempted by their wild magic. Wake up.
Oh man, they're wild magic.
Do you want to like maybe imagine the scene surrounding like what happened just before or after this was posted? Because I feel like this is something a person writes immediately after they get like turned down or whatever.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, this dude, he probably went to some girly bar somewhere, and he met a really hot Thai woman who was working there, and they had what he thought was a nice rapport, but she's just running an incredibly good game because she's an absolute pro. And this dude, like, took it the wrong way, and I don't either. So either they did the deed and he paid her money, and then he was like trying to, like follow up or like be something different. She was like, haha, no, sweetie, sorry. Or they didn't even get to that point, and she asked for money, and he was like, but I thought we were in love.
It sounds like he might have caught some feelings here. I know he says, I saw my friend get taken advantage of last week. I'm like, is this about your friend? Is this about you? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, these kind of like touristy expats, their friends are just whatever fucking doofus that they met at a bar or share a hostel room with them or whatever.
Yeah, these guys are mass produced on like a conveyor belt. So.
Yes. Yeah, and they're all the same. They see places like Thailand as a fucking playground for their shit, and when the playground has rules or they tell you to get off the ride for being too short, they throw a fucking temper tantrum about it.
Yeah, if you ever want to know what these guys look like, by the way, just go down to your local college and look for like the Young Republicans Club, and then just imagine those guys, but like in a tacky Hawaiian t-shirt, and it's like basically that.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
And as dripping with spite as this post is, there's a correct observation here. Yes, this is a business. The people you're dealing with are sex workers. They're doing a job. There's like a transactional element to what's going on. So like, I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit of a skill issue if like, okay, you got lured into this and you caught some feelings or whatever. I think, if you're going to be a sexpat and do that sort of thing, I don't know, maybe, have the courtesy to just, be normal about it and not do this middle school thing where you catch feelings for the first girl that's nice to you because you're not used to that or whatever.
And it's exactly that. It's exactly that. I mean, like, there are songs about this. Don't fall in love with a hooker. Don't fall in love with a stripper. That's a skill issue. Like, grow up, man. Like, this person is learning the harsh realities of life in real time.
Well, this is part one. You say he's learning, but we'll see about that because
okay.
This post is, as I said earlier, it is titled "Bar Girls That Can Be Girlfriends Do Not Exist." And some important context: this was posted Sunday, December 24th in 2023. So this is like Christmas Eve, by the way, which makes it a little bit sadder as well. Yeah. But I want to follow up with part two. This is another post from February 15th, 2024. So just about like 2 or 3 weeks after that. And the post reads, "How to bring back a girl to my home country? Question mark." He got. All right. So just a few weeks later, he writes, "So I met this bar girl in Thailand recently. She's really cute and friendly, and I want to marry her one day. I want to bring her back to my home country eventually, and maybe raise a family. The issue I'm having is that I don't really know how to start. I know visas are a problem, and that we can't get married until she gets that approved and comes to the United States. Does anyone have experience with this? Not just Thailand, but bringing women in general back to your home country and marrying them. Is it a difficult process? And how do you get past these hurdles? Do we get married there and then come back? Or do I bring her and marry her in my home country? Which do you recommend? I've been told just to live there, but no thanks. I don't have enough money to retire yet, and I don't want to learn a whole nother language and start over from scratch working starter jobs. Open to suggestions."
Yeah, I mean, of course you don't. Of course you don't want to learn a language and start over from scratch. I mean, I wonder what this dude's
First
job
off, some
is.
important context. The second post was posted to r/passport bros, which I tried to check, but it turns out this subreddit has been banned because it was unmoderated. That's crazy. I can't imagine why.
Where do you find the mod for Passport Bros? Where could it be?
Do you outsource that? Do you find a moderator there and bring them back, or?
yeah, that's a good question.
I don't know. First of all, I feel like there's like a phenomenon on the internet. I think that some guy tried to make it like a brand on a t-shirt. I think he was some like dipshit YouTuber or something called like libertarian guys with Asian wives.com or something like that. Have you ever heard of this?
Yes, I have. I don't know if that's exactly the name, but I know what you're talking about.
No, it's definitely the name. I remember there was like some tacky artwork too. Okay, I found it on Google. I don't know, maybe we'll put this in the little TV on the YouTube graphic. It's like a guy in a tacky Hawaiian shirt wearing sunglasses and holding like an assault rifle with like a woman in like the yellow like Chinese style dress or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know how to feel about this. Well, I feel pretty gross, but
So that's the thing about guys like this, is that they still, I mean, like the artist depiction of the quote unquote Asian wife is like a woman just probably supposed to look demure, but with like traditional garb on, and she's just like a nice, beautiful Asian woman. And in their headcanon, they're just like, they're docile, they do whatever they want. Whatever, but like
it's like a literal like trophy wife sort of thing.
Yeah, and so the reason guys like this think every Asian woman is like that is because they're all sexpats. So the women that they meet are manipulating them because they want to get paid, and they're like putting up with their dumb bullshit. And they're like, dude, fucking women in Asia are awesome because they don't, when I say dumb shit, they like don't argue with me or tell me that I'm fucking disgusting creep. They're just like, oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, even if it ends up being the situation where you get your mail order bride and take her home with you, they're doing this like for a meal ticket, which I don't fault anybody for that. But it's also like you're not meeting like actual like people with agency over themselves in the way that you think that they do. They're just acting a certain way to like appease you, but also not in the way that you think they are. You're just a fucking rube. You're an idiot.
Absolutely. And I was just looking at more Google images, and apparently there's a whole slew of this kind of brand image. I don't even know what it's for. I think it might be like either like a meme or like a YouTube channel or something. I found libertarian guys with Latina wives, libertarian guys with ivory wives, and it's like a buff black guy with like a white girl in like the ANCAP bikini or whatever. There's libertarian guys with ebony wives, which I guess is like black girls. There's libertarian guys with Asian wives, but it's like a body pillow with like an anime girl in like a bunny suit or whatever. And then maybe my favorite, libertarian guys with libertarian guys. And it's just like two guys with assault rifles and like a round rainbow behind them, but they're also wearing like the ANCAP colors on their respective shirts. Good for them.
Yeah, this is beautiful. It's an all-inclusive group.
I mean, what else is there to say but love wins. Love wins, guys.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I think this is a great movement if we're including everyone into it. It's very inclusive.
Yeah, I mean, you saw what we had to do. He was holding a gun, so right. I don't know. There's just like this whole stereotype about like women from other countries, and I think this is a good example of what we like to call Orientalism, right? Where like you kind of view these other countries as like something exotic and mystical and mysterious, and like you don't really just like think of them as other people. It's kind of like going on like a little adventure and they're all basically just like NPCs that exist to like fulfill your little fantasy about what you think life in other countries is like. And like you pointed out, right, you know, these girls aren't necessarily doing it because, you know, they're just really down bad for like mediocre white guys who like guns and have a passport or whatever. It's like, you know, when you're born to like a country that doesn't have as many opportunities or whatever, like life is more difficult, like financially or any of those things, right? You know, a lot of people take whatever way out they can get, and if that means, you know, putting up with like a shitty mediocre white dude husband to like live in another country with like an objectively higher standard of living, you know, a lot of these girls, you know, they'll take that chance because it is an improvement to their life. But I don't know, something about it just feels like obviously fucked up to me because like these aren't real relationships, you know. I don't know what we can do about these because like, yeah, if somebody does, you know, find real genuine love in another country and they want to, you know, immigrate over here, you know, more power to them. But I don't know, I think there's something very fucky going on here with just the way immigration works in general, and I'm not sure what we should do about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't fault anybody for looking for a meal ticket in that way. I wouldn't recommend it because these guys are fucking shit unless you have a real plan to, you know, hopefully divorce them as soon as you possibly can and go live your life.
From what I understand of those like getting citizenship through marriage or something, I do think you have to stay with the person for at least a couple years, which is a big bummer, but like I understand why the rule is in place. Sure.
Otherwise there'd just be like marriage factories just pumping.
I mean, I'm sure there already are, but it would be like much worse if not for that minimal regulation or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, to the previous point as well, I experienced this in a way when I lived in Korea. And to be clear, South Korea is like a developed country. But when there were a lot of foreigners there that I saw that they definitely treated that place like it was their just like vacation playground, even though they had jobs and shit and they had certain responsibilities. They saw it as just like a play place where they could, you know, just work some fucking bullshit teaching job and then, you know, go fuck off and like get drunk every night and shit, which is fine. Fucking do your thing. But
no, well, not only is it fine, but I think, you know, if those kind of bullshit whatever, just clock in, do the thing kind of jobs were more available out here, I think a lot less people would, you know, travel abroad to begin with for better or worse.
Right. Yeah. But like, so they would treat that country like that. Most of them took absolutely zero effort into like, you know, learning Korean or like just not acting like a complete fucking foreigner at all times. But at the same time, they would bitch about like their place in that society and like how Koreans acted towards them and how Koreans treated them and shit like that. And it's like, you can't have it both ways, man. You either want to like ingratiate yourself into this culture, or you just like live outside of it and you just like take what you can get and have fun and then you fuck off. And some people did, but there were some people who were there for way too long without gaining any sort of legitimate foothold there. And it's just like, man, what the fuck are you doing? Like, either get out or grow up. Shit.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, just by moving there at all, even if you know, take up like some bullshit like teaching English sort of job or something, you already experience all these benefits just by being like a relatively well-off like foreigner who's like, you know, bringing in US dollars or whatever. You know what, people are going to be nicer to you just because, you know, they want your business or something. You have all these like benefits just to being there. But like for some dudes, it's not enough. It's like, no, I also want to be respected and treated as one of them, even though I'm not doing anything to like, you know, integrate with this culture or something. Right. And you know, it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of a shitty and like, frankly, you know, I'm gonna say I think it's a little bit of a racist attitude on these guys' parts.
Without question, there's a massive amount of like othering that is done that is done there, and it's like it's a very like it's a really weird mindset, and they kind of like they kind of always think like oh well like well I'm right about this and how things should be done there. So, but they won't listen to me. They just won't listen to me. They won't listen to my like correct takes on how society should be.
I keep speaking English slowly like this, and they don't get it. I'm trying to explain in English, and they just don't get it. And I'm like, I wonder why, dude. I think you're being kind of an asshole.
Yeah, well, there was a weird phenomenon that I noticed too, where it's there would be people who kind of like low key equated somebody's like intelligence or whatever, some sort of value judgment on how well they spoke English, and they'd be like, oh, you know, like he's cool, but like he doesn't speak English very well. It like outside of the context of like could we hang out with him or something, which like that's a different thing. It's like, oh well, you know, a lot of us don't speak Korean, so like it would be difficult or whatever. No, but it was kind of like when we're talking about like a value judgment of somebody, it's like, oh, she's really cool, she's really smart, but her English is not that good. So it's kind of like this qualifier. But the funny thing is, all of the people who would do this spoke fucking zero Korean, if not like prehistoric level, like they know how to order a beer or something like that. And it's just like, yeah, that makes sense, man.
It's such bullshit too, because like, you know, I've taken a few different like language courses over the course of my time in like school and college and whatever, and like to achieve, you know, a basic conversational level of like pretty much any language to a place you're traveling to, it only takes a couple weeks, and like these people don't even put in like the bare minimum effort. I've never like really like lived abroad for like an extended period of time, but I feel like, you know, I've considered moving outside of Canada at a few different points. Maybe I'm doing that right now. I don't know. I've looked at a few different places. But regardless, you know, every time I think about moving to another place, I just feel like, I don't know, if I didn't know the language well enough to like, I don't know, order food or ask for directions or like get basic, you know, simple responses, make like little small talk with people, I feel like I would feel this shame. I think I'd feel like a big fucking asshole being here and not doing the bare minimum to, you know, like communicate with anybody who lives there. I don't know. And it's just wild to me that these guys don't even have like that bare minimum sense of like obligation to other people. I don't know.
No, without question. I felt that way for sure, which is why I put the effort forth to, you know, at first even just like at least be like decent, like functional, but like the fucked up thing is like you would meet people who like in that country who would like be trying to speak English to you, and they like have a hard time, and they would feel ashamed, they would feel embarrassed, they would feel like stressed out, and it's like, no, man, you have no obligation to know my language when I'm in your country, just hanging out. Like, fuck off. Like, fuck off.
While we're talking about this, I think I have a great follow-up post. Maybe you can read this one. I'm going to drop a link in our chat here.
Sure.
I think this is a great follow-up post for what we're talking about.
If you're an immigrant, legal/illegal, you should adopt the language/customs of your new home country.
Curious.
Okay. The post reads, I believe it is a huge disrespect to the host country if you come over as an immigrant, illegal/legal, and do absolutely nothing in order to try and fit in. Like, if you're coming over illegally, surely you must acknowledge that your previous country is a bad place, and you're fleeing for a reason, right? So why bring those customs, ideologies, corruption, bad stuff from that home country to this new one? If you are actually a refugee or immigrant searching for a better life, then you should understand that the new country will provide, but you also got to put in the work and become a productive member of society. Sure, you argue cultural diversity and all that. I'm not saying abandon your previous heritage and ethnicity. You should always keep it. Wow, what a nice guy. But to not even try and adopt new ways of thinking and the culture of the new country you're moving into, the country that accepted you and is making arrangements for you and giving you all these benefits and handouts, it's like moving into a house with a family already existing and saying, this is my house now. I do whatever I want. Who cares about your rules? And expecting the family and neighbors to support, house, feed, provide for them, and so forth. Anyone else feel this way? I mean, the least you can do is the bare minimum. But some people aren't even doing that.
Yeah, some people. Am I right?
Yeah, fucking amazing. And like, again, I don't fault anyone for thinking this dude's a troll, but there, like, the cognitive dissonance of this kind of like chud is totally a real thing. In like with a lot of tiers of chuddom, that's a throwback to a previous episode. There's like a lot of it is projection, and so this dude feels this way when he's in another country, and instead of like taking any steps to better himself in not doing the things that he's criticizing, he's just gonna create some straw man in his mind, which is himself, and then scold them about it and grandstand on Twitter about scolding this person as well.
It's also worth pointing out this post that you just read was posted February 17th, 2024. So this was like 2 days after his long post asking questions about how he can bring his like mail order bride over to the US. Yeah. I wonder if he wants her to assimilate, or maybe if it's something he imagines about other cultures that he would like to bring over here instead. I don't know. It seems like a little bit of a double standard to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. And this is a nice fantasy for him too, is to have this FOB wife that he can just be like, learn English, dumb bitch. What's your problem? I'm at work at the it's really hard for me to assume what this guy does for work, if anything.
I have to imagine, given his capital L libertarian leanings, it's probably some like bullshit like tech or marketing kind of job. One of those like things where like you don't really produce anything of value, but like you get paid a lot of money to like
that was kind
fuck around abroad.
Yeah, that was kind of my assumption. Something where he doesn't really do anything of value, but gets like a fuck ton of PTO where he can just like bounce and either work remotely or just like go on like a 1 month escapade to Thailand where he like falls in love with hookers and then like manically posts at 3 a.m. there about like, how do I marry this prostitute that said that I was okay?
Yeah, and also this post was posted in r/true unpopular opinion, which I guess the original unpopular opinion subreddit is not unpopular enough. And despite that, literally the top comment responding to him goes, literally, who the hell are you even talking about? And someone else writes, most immigrants do. And in fact, Latinos seem to be like the fastest group of immigrants to assimilate into America.
Yeah, it's like a straw man. Like the dude's just making up somebody in his mind to get mad about. That's all.
Yeah, it's wild. Do we want to? I do want to talk a little bit about Ladyboys at some point in this episode. Do we want to find a post in his little history specifically about those? There's got to be a good one that we missed.
Yeah, let's get in there. Let's get into the thing that brought us to his profile in the not actually. The thing
Let's
that
see.
brought us there
Okay,
in the
this
first
one has.
place is-
I haven't read this one. We're just doing it live, but the title stood out to me. This post is titled, "Why did I get punched by a bar girl in Pattaya?" Okay, let's see if we can get to the bottom of this mystery.
Yeah, okay, I'll read this one. Why did I get punched by a bar girl in Pattaya? So I was hanging out and checking out the nightlife in Thailand. Most of the time, my visits are good. Lots of cute girls, very friendly, calls me handsome man, the whole 9 yards. What fucking living life, buddy. I decided I had too much to drink and randomly grabbed a girl from a bar I don't even remember and brought her back to my hotel. When I laid down on the bed, she got on top and was about to do her thing when she suddenly punched my sack. Like hard. Now I do fucking Muay Thai and I box, so I'm used to pain and my tolerance threshold is much higher than the average Farang. But damn, I was stunned for a few seconds. She said something in Thai and I'm like, WTF, girl? But then she brushed it off like it was nothing? And then, even stranger, she continued to do her thing and we ended up making sweet love, but still. The fuck, guys? Anyone else get this?
Okay. So I don't have an immediate answer. My guess, I don't know, maybe she thought that this would be like a femdom thing and he just wasn't into it. I don't know. That's a pretty forward way to begin things. I don't know if we have the full story here.
Well, I mean, he said he was like too drunk, so maybe he is actually into like cock and ball torture and asked her to do that and then like woke up from his fugue state a few seconds later with her punching him in the balls.
Do you think that this is like a roundabout like bait post? Is this like just a setup to like a Bangkok joke?
Now that would be funny. I don't think this guy has the creativity or intelligence level to bring it around like that. This is also posted a year ago, so he
right.
never...
I'm looking at some of the replies. One of them says it's a cultural thing for Isan girls to do. I don't know what Isan girls are. I think that might be the area or something. It's it's a cultural thing for Isan girls to do. They think by punching your balls, it prevents them from getting STDs. Don't ask me how I know this. And I don't know. This seems like a boomer joke to me. I don't know if is that true. That seems a little absurd to me.
Probably not, but I mean that's the best explanation I've heard. We could just go with that one. Yeah. All right.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's in my head canon now.
Another person comments, an Isan girl poisoned me with cyanide. She was my wife. I left Thailand a few days later, and I never came back. Yes, it was my fault. I never should have married her. Okay, that's a joke post. Someone else just writes, you sound like a loser.
No, that is a post I can get behind.
All right. I don't know. This is a little bizarre thing. There's actually another. He did this thread at the same time in another subreddit. This one goes, why did I get punched in the family jewels? It says, so I did LT. I don't know what LT is. I did LT with this one bar girl from SOI 6. Most of the time, my romps are good. Lots of cute girls, very friendly. Calls me handsome man. The whole nine. Okay, this is just he started it different, but this is just the same fucking post. All right, cool. Does he get any better answers in this thread? Somebody says, she knows what she's doing. You do not. Based answer there. Let's go
Another
with that.
person says that's a normal thing, birth control and chase out the bad ghosts that cause STDs. Maybe this is a real thing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I have to look into this. Maybe we'll do a follow-up in a bonus episode or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to find something else about Ladyboys here, or maybe I should just I don't know, crack it open. Oh, here's a great one. This is a post. It says, does seeing a ladyboy make you gay? Maybe we can get to the bottom of this. This is a short post that goes, I have a bet with my friends. First one throws up in the night, we're getting him a ladyboy. One thing is, he mentions that he's really gay. I thought about it, and he does have a good point. Does anyone else think this is going too far? okay, this is like barely legible, but I think I get what he's saying.
Yeah. So it's like in my experience when people are like really obsessed with like, oh, let's have a bet. And the person who loses a bet has to like fuck a lady or like take their dick out and like jerk it. It's like you're obsessed with this thing.
Dude, what if I just gave my bro a bro job as like a funny prank, you know, just like messing around?
Yeah. The first person who passes out, like we take turns having gay sex with him. Ha 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 ha. Right, bros? That's funny.
No, you know, it's gay because he's sucking my dick.
Yeah. The age old. I
don't know. I feel like it doesn't need to be said that this is like a kind of a little bit of a homophobic and like pretty immature post. It's like, one, I don't think you guys are gonna fucking vomit the moment you see like a girl with a dick or something. And also
I think the point is like if the first one who throws up from drinking, like they're gonna go out. And
okay.
If you puke from drinking, then you have to, then they buy him a Ladyboy, which
okay, yeah, I misunderstood.
Oh shit!
That.
I hope I don't throw up tonight.
Wow, that'd be
give me 7 more shots.
Haha, yeah. He mentions his friend is really gay. He's like, he's not sure. Well, would being gay make that better or worse for you? And the thing is, right, however you feel about like the Ladyboy thing in Thailand, right, I feel like these people present pretty femininely, right?
Yeah.
I think most guys who are like gay guys or whatever, they're typically attracted to other dudes. They're attracted to people who look like dudes. They're attracted to like a masculine form, even if it's like, I don't know, either like a bear thing or like a Twinkie sort of dude. They like men's bodies. That's why they're gay, right? So
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like the brilliant Andrew Tate take where he said, would you rather fuck a really hot chick with a dick or Hulk Hogan with a vagina? And then he said, like, that's why like trans women are women. Andrew Tate, classic
extremely rare
ally.
Instance, maybe the only time he has ever Wiseposted in his entire life.
yeah. I mean, the guy's like an incredible troll. I mean, he's a piece of shit.
Right. We don't need to take anything these people say as genuine or whatever. But like, I've thought about this too, right? Like, I consider myself a lesbian, right? I'm attracted to women. I like, feminine bodies, whatever. I'd like to, be with somebody who is also like feminine or whatever. But at the same time, like, I would probably have like a fling or something with a cute enough femboy, right? Like, if I could top them, it's like, whatever. It's close enough. I'm not that picky, Yeah.
So, that's a thing about like gender and shit like that. It doesn't boil down to something so simple as like, do they have a dick or not? I mean, you're attracted to what you're attracted to, but some people can't get over that.
Mm-hmm.
Like this guy here, like our homie, the Red Ranger. He just he has a weird obsession with Thai ladyboys, which turns into a bit of derangement, as we've seen.
Yeah, I don't know. And also, I know a lot of people might be listening to this episode and maybe getting a little sketched out at the term ladyboy, because it does sound like a little bit of a slur, but from my understanding, it is like the correct term over there. And I wanted to educate myself a little bit before starting this episode, because I didn't actually know, like, is that like the politically correct term? Is that like just what they call trans people over there or something? And it was a little bit of a fun learning experience, because one of the things I think a lot of people don't know is like when we talk about, say, like gender and sexuality and like LGBTQ people or whatever, this is a very like kind of modern and like Western understanding of it, which isn't to say it's like wrong necessarily, but it is also like not the full picture of what like every single person who goes like slightly outside of like the gender or like sexuality norms around the world.
Oh,
is
sure,
like.
sure. Well, I mean, like in the West, we're coming at it from a very like Judeo-Christian, patriarchal, like very rigid conception of like what is masculine and feminine, what is male and female, whatever. A lot of other cultures, especially in the East, have a much more like broad, kind of more nebulous conception of these things, especially historically.
Yeah. It's both that, but it's not just like, oh, we have like a like weird Christian like hang-ups or whatever about this stuff. And don't get me wrong, we absolutely do out here in the West. But it's also like on the other side of things, like the other side of the political aisle or whatever, even people who are like very progressive and like in favor of like LGBTQ plus stuff or whatever, our understanding of these issues is mostly sorted out in like academia, right? There are people who like study like society and sexuality and whatever, and they write all these books, and we talk about these things in like universities and stuff for a long time, and then it kind of disseminates to like a broader like activist or like layman's kind of understanding of these things. But like a lot of what we know about what we consider to be queer people out here in the West, that comes from like studies done by other people out here in the West, which it does not necessarily cover the entire world. So a lot of people might be wondering like, okay, when it comes to Thai ladyboys, like, is that just what they call like trans women over there? And like the answer is like, it's not, kind of, but not really. So it's like, from what I understand, out there, the whole ladyboy thing kind of falls into the category of like a third gender, right? So there's like male, female, and then there's like ladyboy, or like I'm sure they have a specific term for that. I know it came up somewhere in my notes. I'm not gonna look it up.
They do. I forget what it's called.
It started with a K.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think that they use that much either. So it's kind of besides the point.
Right. So to explain things, out here in the West, when we talk about like trans people, and like I'll just say trans women in particular, we have this adage, right? Trans women are women, because okay, trans people fall under the broader category of women. We look at the way that trans women are treated more broadly in society, and it lines up with, people are like misogynist towards trans women in the same way they treat other women in their lives or whatever. It's just like a lower class of woman. It's a whole other thing. In a lot of other countries, you have this concept of like a third gender. It's like a lot of trans women out here, if they just want to fall into the first gender, the category of women, female, whatever. And people who don't want to do that, we call them like non-binary or something, just to really simplify it. So out there in Thailand, right, with the whole ladyboy thing, some people, and they do go through like transition, they do hormones, they get surgeries or whatever, they go the whole 9 yards, all those things, they live that out socially or whatever. Some of them are fine with like the third gender designation or whatever, and apparently you see this in like when you're applying for jobs in Thailand. Sometimes the jobs will say like male/female only, which is like implicitly excluding, okay, no lady boys apply for this job or whatever. But some people in Thailand who do identify with the term ladyboy or whatever, they do have a more like activist, like Western understanding of things, and they do just consider themselves like another type of women. So like it's not like a clear cut sort of thing. So I don't know, a lot of people might be uncomfortable with the term, but it is what it is. And some of them are very pretty much the same as trans women out here, and a lot of the other ones are also do this like a third gender thing. So it's not like a super clear cut whatever. I don't know. I think I made my point.
Yeah. Well, I will say as well from personal experience, I have met a great handful of Thai ladyboys, and I'll call them because they call themselves that.
Right.
And they would tell me like I'm a lady boy. I'd be like, oh, cool. and they're great, man. They're great people.
They're also beautiful. I don't know. Maybe this is like a selection bias thing when I look on the internet, but those girls look really cute. For the most part.
It might be a selection bias from me as well, but that has been my experience also. There was a whole slew of them at a bar we were at one time, and we had a great time. We had a great time buying each other drinks and having a couple laughs, and they were very upfront about where they were from and who they were and how they identified themselves, and fun people.
Yeah, and from what I know, there is like a world-renowned like clinic or whatever in Thailand that a lot of people travel out to get their bottom surgery done. They have some really good doctors over there, so I don't know. It seems like they're pretty cool with that for the most part. But yeah, I think a lot of people, when they hear the term ladyboy, right, it doesn't just sound like a slur or something, but it also kind of has this kind of like pornographic kind of connotation to it, right?
Sure.
It's like out here, a lot of people consider themselves like a femboy or something. But, when you look up anything related to femboys on the internet, this is an extremely sexualized term. If you look up anything about femboys, you're going to find stuff about like, I don't know, like r/196 horny posters, or like people talking about like a cam performers, not sure if cam girls, whatever, on the internet. It's a very kind of a bit of a loaded term. And I think when a lot of people think about the ladyboys out in Thailand, they might think, oh, they're just like all sex workers or something like that. And I'm sure if you're like a beautiful woman or something like that in this industry that has like a lot of foreign money coming in, I'm sure it's probably a better paying job than a lot of things out there. But at the same time, there's also kind of like the whole like implicit bias of society, right? Where like, okay, if they go through this process of transitioning or whatever, they're not fully considered male or female. I'm sure a lot of them fall into sex work just because it's like, well, it's the only thing that they can do reliably, so.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, in my experience, the ones that I've met have like they pass like really well. So, I mean, they probably do whatever shit that like a cis woman could, but I mean, again, selection bias, that's just my experience. But I mean, like, when you're in a place like that, and you're hot and you have no other marketable skills, that's like, sex work is like, that's a fucking great play.
Yeah, there's something to be said about the way society treats like very attractive people, right? And I don't know, I kind of want to try to be sensitive about it, but if you're an attractive person, if you're like conventionally attractive and good looking or whatever, people are nicer to you. You have more opportunities. There are things you can do that other people can't. I know, I don't want to talk about like OnlyFans, like it's some great fucking jobs program that brings a lot of people up into the middle class or something, because it's not. It's very competitive and shitty, and like you're constantly at the beck and whim of like fucking credit card processing companies or whatever, all that bullshit. But there is a small percentage of people, like a lot of girls, a lot of gay guys as well, who get into OnlyFans, and it improves their life substantially because they make a shit ton of money because they're very attractive. So like, I don't know, I can never fault people for getting into that sort of work. I don't think there's anything wrong with sex work, but obviously, I'd like to see things get better so that, nobody who doesn't really want to do it is like pressured into doing it, but I don't know. That's
exactly.
just like the sane person position, I guess.
Yeah, and we're all whores under capitalism and trying to make it work out there, and like, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, sex work is real work. Much respect to my homies out there doing their thing, but like, yeah, I mean, if you have an aptitude or a skill or something, like, you're gonna like good on you. Make it work for you, and those are just the realities of life that we can't like, discount or get away from.
I'm reminded of one of my favorite little memes shit posts I've seen on the internet. It's a bunch of cute anime girls or femboys, and it says, "In a mass surveillance state, we are all cam girls."
That's true.
That's true. Spitting facts.
Some of them are profiting from it, and some of them are just on the cam, chilling.
Absolutely. I don't know. We have some time left. Do we want to do one or two more posts? I definitely want to do the one about pumping, but maybe that'd be a good last one.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's end on that. I think that's
all right. Shall I pull it up right now?
Pull it up. Pull that shit up, Jamie.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to link you to this now. I will read it out loud. And this is from the subreddit r/gettingbigger. And when we first saw this in preparation for this episode, both you and I assumed this subreddit was about something else, right?
Yeah. So I was looking through this Reddit archive thing, and I saw that, and it was the title of it was "Anyone See Results with Only Pumping?" And then I saw it was getting bigger, and I was like, I started learning about this, and then something about gains, and I was like, oh, this is like some sort of like weird like bodybuilding thing, like whatever.
I thought this was like a workout thing. Guys want to get big and swole, have big muscles, whatever.
And it would totally track that that like a person like this is also obsessed with like weightlifting and bodybuilding. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they do it for the express purpose of looking good to attract women. It's the same as
well, that in my not so humble opinion, I think a lot of guys who are like really into bodybuilding and they say it's for the women, I don't think it's for the women. I think it's for the other guys. But
well, yes. Well, but that's also what and I talked about this in one of the episodes about fucking red pill dudes. Is like it extends out to the point where like their obsession with picking up women is to impress other guys as well. So they got like the narrative extends, like it gets really complicated with that. But anyways,
I don't know his exact phrasing, but I know this is something that like Andrew Tate has said directly, like, no, I don't actually like women. I just do this as like a status symbol thing or whatever. And it's right. Okay, that's I don't know, laying it out kind of nakedly. But anyway, so this subreddit is not about bodybuilding, or I guess it is about building your body, or at least a small part of it.
a part of it, yes.
So this post says, anyone see results with only pumping? And in our boy, the Red Ranger himself, he writes, so I started learning about this sub a few weeks ago, decided to go pumping route and just order a Lilove or something. Been pumping for a week, but found zero gains. I see a lot of routines or workouts in here that coordinate pumping with hanging or clamping or some other crazy ass setup crap I don't want to get too much into right now. I decided on pumping just because it sounds simple enough and easy to understand, but I'm worried it might not be enough to see real gains. I also hear the gains from pumping are just temp gains. Anyone else here just do only pumping, maybe some minor jelking, and see realistic long-term gains? And it was then that I saw the word jelking, or I was like, okay, I know what this is about now. Yeah. This is about making your dick bigger.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. He's on one. He's on one with this.
There are a couple replies. Somebody says, I'm at a week. Somebody else says, do long-term pumping for long-term gains. You won't miss this way. Another person says, yeah, I have only pumped, but I'm up to 3/8 inches in both directions. I don't know what that means. I guess, is that like the length of it?
A 3/8 inch gain in both girth and length, just with pumping. This person's name is Itty Bitty Penis.
And also he has like a user flare. It's like stats. It says B 6.3 times 4, C 6.8 times 4.3 start 6:23. What does this mean?
I don't know.
I'm sure this is like, I don't know, start time or like starting length. I don't know. Another person from a deleted account says, here's some more info on pumping, and they have 3 links. They have pumping guide, cylinder sizing, clinical evidence. Good brands include Leela, Mustang, LA Pump, Blush, video, BD explains, pumping. A pump with a gauge is always recommended. Stay between 5 to 7 Hg. Oh, this is a bot. Okay. I don't know. This is wild. Is there anything else to unpack here about, like, I don't know, just the kind of guy that just does all these things and I guess, I don't know, also wants a bigger dick?
I think... I think at this point, this guy speaks for himself. I think this is we've unpacked a certain type of person here. The takeaway here is like they're not very interesting. They think they are, I guess. Maybe. Or they think other people should think that they are by virtue of, I don't know, just existing. I mean, this kind of goes back to like what we talked about with the red pill incel losers, where and I think this is the draw for a lot of dudes like this who are just like incredibly boring, incredibly uninteresting. He probably has no actual like interests or hobbies or life experiences outside of like trying to pick up women in the easiest way he knows how. Yeah, I mean, I've met people like this in my travels, and they are extremely boring and extremely lame and very, very entitled. And
yeah,
I guess
not only that, I think I'm going to add one more post because this is a very short one, but it's kind of like a good example of what we're talking about here. This post he writes, it's just called Tattoos, ? And this is in r/Buddhism. And he writes, not really a Buddhist, but I practice some of their principles, like meditation, mindfulness, letting go, etc. I want a sakyant tattoo. I don't know what that is. Is there a list somewhere or what? On what most people is there a list somewhere or what most people recommend for a cool yet interesting and spiritualistic tattoo? I'm going to be in Thailand later next year and want to get it done there. And it's like, okay, I think you and I both know a lot of people who like they'll kind of get like a random novel idea and then kind of like obsess about it for a little bit. And I feel like, okay, this is a prime example of this, right? Because like I guarantee this guy has not put more than like 20 minutes into the idea of getting like a spiritual Buddhist tattoo to show off how like cool and mystical he is before going out to Thailand or whatever. And I don't know, it's just a prime example. I think these people are like, maybe the term spiritual works out here. We talked about this a bit last episode. Check that out. Where I said, you know, a lot of people are like spiritually dead in that they just have either no like good narrative to explain like how the world works, or like they believe shitty and incorrect things, and like I don't know, it just kind of like eats them up inside. And I think for a lot of people like this, like they don't have anything going on besides like being the cool guy who makes money and travels abroad, so they're like desperate to find something to latch on to prove to themselves maybe that they're worth paying attention to, and they deserve to have like a cool partner or something like that. And it's just, I don't know, like the more I read posts from this guy, it's just like, you gotta get your life sorted out, dude, and you're not gonna find whatever meaning you're looking for in like the pussy of some cute Thai lady boy or whatever. I don't know.
It's just consumption. That's all it
is.
And you know, like having tattoos and shit is cool. I know a lot of people with tattoos. I have some ideas myself, but like with a lot of people, it's kind of like something that they want to do, and getting that it's a means to an end of having some cool art on themselves. The fact that this guy has these like all these manic ideas and immediately like posts on Reddit about it it's like it's just like, oh, I found a new identity obsession, and now I need to realize that through like buying something. And that's really what it comes down to. When you're like asking people for like, oh, what thing do I buy? It's the same as like, oh, what type of computer do I buy? It's not really about the art or the tattoo or something. It's just like, how do I buy another thing to like achieve self-realization? It's all bullshit, man. This guy's a fucking lame. He's fucking lame. He represents a bunch of lame people who just they're fucking boring. They have no real interests other than just like going places, consuming
and engaging in this
shit.
like dumb, petty, like contrarian bullshit on the internet. Like anybody who regularly posts to like r/true unpopular opinion, you just want to fucking like argue with strangers about some dumb fucking bullshit. You know, you have nothing to stand on. You don't actually believe in anything. Everything is just like a fucking moral abstraction for you to like win points on the internet or look cool to like the girl at the bar or whatever. I don't know. Like sort your life out.
Yeah, you're a grumpy, lonely loser, and this is such like a huge swath of Reddit is like this, and their only way to kind of like feed their ego and their idea that their fucking shower thoughts are meaningful and that they like know something or have anything to say is to go on Reddit and just be like, our unpopular opinion, Reddit, but you shouldn't tip DoorDash drivers. And then they go on this like unhinged rant because they had to pay their app slave an extra $5 for their fucking McDonald's value meal. It's like, dude, fucking Jesus Christ. Like,
yeah, there was a great example of that back in the DoorDash episode about the person who we warned people. This is like a dangerously Reddit comment where they were like, I don't know why you need to feel safe. Maybe you should not do the whole DoorDash thing. Maybe there could be a serial killer or something. I don't actually care about any of this because I can cook my own goddamn meals or something. And this person is like posting to the DoorDash subreddit like, why are you here, dude? You're just picking random fights with other assholes on the internet.
Yeah, it's the same as like just these like unhinged Facebook boomers that like comment on shit that has nothing to do with them. And they're just like, I don't know what this is, but I think kids are woke now. And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like nobody cares, man. And really what I think it comes down to is like these people are lonely, lost, and completely and utterly disconnected from like any sense of like human, like actual genuine human interaction, which is sad, which sucks.
Not only is it sad, but that is also why I'm convinced this guy probably works like some bullshit like corporate, like social media or like tech sort of job. Because I think, that's what those jobs produce. It is like a spiritually draining environment. People who go there, like, they might seem like they're happy because they get paid a lot of money to do basically like bullshit made up work that like shouldn't exist or whatever. But like they're dead inside. I think working in that kind of environment for any length of time is going to be like bad for you in the long term. I don't know how else to say it.
And they all hate each other. That's a thing.
Yes, they do.
Because I've worked like we can delineate here shit jobs where it's like I'm like I like fucking shovel ditches out for some like construction company.
Yeah, I've worked fucking agriculture under like
Yeah.
fucking hot grow lights for like 12 hours a day or longer. So I get a shit job.
Yeah, and I've in like retail jobs and shit like that. Usually there's some sort of camaraderie because you might not love everybody you work with, but at least it's like we're all in the shit together. But
Well, that's like a fact of human psychology. You actually, maybe to get a little morbid with it, you see this a lot in cults where like people will naturally bond with each other when they share like a traumatic or like difficult experience. So like if you're
like
all
in
working
war.
a shitty job, it's not the same as like being part of a fucking cult or something, but it sucks, and you learn to like commiserate with other people. It brings you closer together.
Yeah, for sure. Or being in some platoon in some bullshit war or something like that's where like
that's literally the entire thing that fucking military training is about. It's to break you down as an individual and make you feel like part of the group to work better as a unit.
Yeah, and even without the training, like that would still like traumatic, serious events. You kind of forget all the bullshit, and then you're all in the shit together. But when we're talking about bullshit jobs in the Graberian sense, as in like David Graeber, the Bullshit Jobs author, great book by the way, check that out. Just these like nonsense bureaucratic office jobs. These people all fucking hate each other. They all hate each other.
They hate each other, and they'll still talk to each other with like a big bright smile on their face every fucking day.
yeah. It's just learned like fakeness all the time. And those jobs also attract like the most self-important, but deep down they know they have like they're not really contributing shit to the fucking world. Like
the shit rises to the top. Like management kind of self-selects for the most useless fucking like self-important kind of motherfuckers out there.
Sure. Yeah. And so yeah. So like yeah. So anyways, that definitely tracks that this dude would be part of that demographic. But we could be wrong. You could have some sort of like lower level shit job and just takes all his money and goes to Thailand to feel like a big important guy. But
I don't know. I think he definitely has a kind of like bullshit sort of job, because I feel like a lot of people who work in that kind of environment, they look at like an exotic foreign country like Thailand and they're like, yes, going here will solve all my problems. I will become spiritually in tune with the ancient Buddhist wisdom. I will find a beautiful Thai trad wife with a dick who will marry me and have many children. And it's like, okay, dude, come on. You're kidding yourself. You're falling for the lines in the fucking tourism brochure or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's like mini imperialism. They love that for themselves. Mm-hmm. They love that little mini narrative where it's like I mean you see that with like these people who are like, I love travel. And it's like what you go to places, you like stay on a resort or you're in some fancy hotel, and then you deign to mingle with the locals for like a second.
I'm sure these people fucking suck at having vacations too. I guarantee they spend all this money to go to another country, and then they spend like 80 to 90% of their trip there just on the fucking like resort and not actually going out outside of their little like white people holding area or whatever.
Yeah, without question. Yeah, for sure. Which seems kind of boring to me, but what the fuck do I know? Do your thing, homie. And I mean, if you want to go to Thailand just to fuck, I mean, cool, I guess. What you should remember is that these people are people. They're not like there for your entertainment. Like they might provide a service to you, whatever that is, but It's a country, man. It's not a playground.
I don't know. To bring it back to the tipping thing, and I guess maybe this is a nice bookend to it. Like, we first found this guy through his post about, like, I am never going to tip anybody ever. And it's like, okay, if this is how you treat somebody providing the service of, like, delivering a fucking, like, burger and fries in a bag to your doorstep, it doesn't surprise me that you treat other people providing a different service just as fucking inhumane and shittily, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's petite bourgeoisie shit. It's the same as the, like, you know, like for most of us, you know, you go to a restaurant, they bring your food, you say thanks, you give them a tip. You know, you fucking don't. I've heard
that they get offended if you tip at a restaurant in Japan, but I don't know if that's true.
I mean, it's not like a thing that's normally done. I have heard that. I don't know. I haven't seen anybody tip before, so, like, I don't know. I
guess if you're going to, like, a nice restaurant out here, at least you should tip.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're in a place where people leave tips, you should do that. But I mean, like, alternately, there are the people, and I think there are people who just, like, go to restaurants purely so they can, like, abuse the wait staff and live out their fantasy about, like, being served. Which is
100%. That's like a generational thing. I think that, like, older people, like boomers and shit, that's the entire appeal of going out to them, in my opinion.
Sure. And yeah, I mean, there's younger people like that too. I mean, it's just kind of how you conceptualize it. And that's why, like, I don't really like to be served that much, cuz I don't know. Like, it's fine. I'm not trying to say, like, I'm some, like, staunch leftist that, like, refuses. Like, I will cook the meal in the kitchen and bring it out myself. Like, no, like, it's fine. It's cool to have people bring you shit, but it's just kind of how you conceptualize it. Like, are these people your fucking servant that are subservient to you because you, like, give them a little bit of money? Or is it a person doing a job and you benefit from that in exchange for, like, paying for stuff? And yeah, I mean, when you look at these people who go to Thailand for the reasons that they go to Thailand, it's purely just to fucking wipe their ass with this place. It's
to fill a hole in their life that they're not gonna fill.
because it's too hard to get actual respect in a quasi egalitarian environment. So they have to go somewhere where it's the laziest. It's the laziest way to get this affirmation, is that they just go to a place that's poorer, so they can wave some dollar bills around and have people, like, pay attention to them and give them a modicum of respect because they're paying for it. Which is fucking lame, dude. Like,
and also, I guarantee you, every one of these libertarian motherfuckers is gonna go off about how they believe in meritocracy, and everybody should be rewarded based on their actual value and skills, because it's just like, this is the thing they need to believe to, like, not fucking hate themselves, or, like, not hate themselves in the way that everybody else, like, secretly hates them as well.
Exactly. Which is why, and like, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of people, I truly believe, who claim to be communists or leftists or something because they're broke and it's cope. And I'm not saying that's wrong or right. It's whatever. You will never find a broke libertarian, or to be more clear, you'll never find a broke libertarian that, like, identifies with being broke or accepts the fact that they're broke.
It's very easy to espouse your principles regarding money when you don't fucking have any.
Right. So I mean, it's like a post hoc thing of saying like, well, I have money. Why do I feel bad about myself? And why doesn't anybody like me? Well, I don't need to think about that. Meritocracy. That means I'm better than poor people. They just need to work harder. And then you get people like this. And then when they have to, and then the funny thing is when they have to like give money to one of these lesser thans, one of their app slaves on DoorDash, they like bitch about it. Like the audacity.
Honestly, like,
of this loser.
I don't know, maybe a little takeaway for people. My personal rule of thumb, at least whenever I'm like going out to a restaurant or like ordering fucking DoorDash or something like that, the number one thing at the front of my mind is just like, what can I do when interacting with this person to not make their shift today a little bit worse? How can I just be like a fucking not pain in the ass to this person and get it over with, you know? And I think, I don't know, I think that's how people should be in general.
No, for sure. And I mean, anybody who's worked a service job before, it's just the like a lot of people are fucking cool. And a lot of people are just like, "Hey, thank you. Bye." And it's just like, right on, man. Right on. Like, it could be
they're
that
at fucking
simple.
work. I'm not entitled to this person's like time and attention or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. And then there's people who are just like, well, I paid $10. Therefore, I'm going to fuck with you for as much as I can possibly get out of this. And it's just like, man, that's sad. Like, you're sad. You're so sad. Like, please just, I don't know.
Not only are you
really
sad, but I just downvoted your post. FAQ, what does this mean?
Ooh. Yeah. Karma down by 1. That's almost worse than social credit down by 10,000.
Is my Reddit account in trouble? No, not yet. That's
yet.
my favorite part.
But
of
it could
that
be.
entire thing.
But it could be.
You know what? Let's call it a day. You know, let's talk about some people who are very much not in trouble, especially if they've continued listening to us this far into the episode.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about our patrons on patreon.com/superdespairworld. If you're not on this list, get on this list, because this is a list that when you die and you're at the pearly gates, this is like the VIP list, basically.
Remember, guys, it only costs 203 Thai baht.
Yeah, only 203 Thai baht to get on the VIP list, which is a bargain. Otherwise, you're in purgatory, which is standing in line with a big burly bouncer, and you're gonna be like, can we go in? And they're just like, no, it's full.
This is how you achieve enlightenment. This is the only way to escape the cycle of samsara or whatever.
Yeah. And if you're not on this list, imagine that you are standing in line. You're at the front of the line. You got your fanciest velour shirt on. You got your snazziest gold chain. You just greased up your blowout. You're ready to go into the club and pop your booty. You've been waiting for this all night. And then who rolls up? And the bouncer just lifts up the velvet rope for them. Well, it's none other than Woke Baby, Trevor Stilson, Heresy, Nilly, Weasel, Walker, Clam, Trash Bins, Nick, and Protagon. They walked right the fuck in. And you're standing there like a doofus. Like an absolute
You were just basking
donut.
in their radiant glow. They are like glowing golden gods. They're basically like living saints in your presence, and you were there cowering like a small worm. But you know what? There's not that big of a gulf between you. You can remedy this.
And you've been standing there like a fucking idiot all night, freezing your ass off, just waiting to go in there and feel and feel important. But
and then while you're waiting, like a beautiful like Asian trans girl just walks by and like punches you square in the dick and just moves on with her life. And
she says,
and goes off to marry all of our beautiful patrons.
Yep. All of them, one by one, just signs the marriage papers. And you stood there like a bitch because you wouldn't pony up 203 Thai baht just to get on the list.
It's almost like you've been listening to the show the entire time without tipping. It's like, is that what you're like? Do you want to be like the Red Ranger?
Yeah. Basically, if you didn't tip, you're the same as this sad, pathetic sexpat. Unless you're like really broke, in which case, that's fine. We get it. It's okay. But if you're not, God is watching.
Well, in case you are really broke, just know that for only 67.78 Thai baht, you can also get the tip jar tier and join us on Discord.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're already in the Discord, you can still join that just to make us feel better about ourselves. We'll still shout you out, I think.
Yeah, I would love to get just the tip from any of our listeners.
Yeah, we'll just shout out the last 3 letters of your name. So
exactly, everyone with a 3-letter name, you're in luck. Other people, we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Anyway, thanks so much for listening, guys. I had a great time today. We'll see you next week.
Fucking A. Good fight. Good night.